Now with Dave Brown presents Road to the Paralympics. Co-host Alex Smyth sits down with para-athlete Tess Routliffe, para-swimmer.
Tess, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So for someone who doesn't know, can you maybe describe not only your sport, but specifically your discipline?
So I'm in Paralympic swimming. My main event is the 100-meter breaststroke. And so basically we are in classification groups that let us compete against people with similar disabilities as us. And breaststroke is my main event.
And the unique thing with swimming is there's so many different, not only stroke races, but also distances. Like, how do you prepare yourself and kind of change your focus when you're competing from going from one race that may be shorter to a longer one or a different type of stroke event?
I think we just really do have different race plans for each event. And I think each one brings a new thing. Like, again, with the individual medley, I really do think about it as like 450s and not really as a 200-meter event. And so I think it's just how you think about it, how you choose to have that race plan is the biggest thing.
For yourself, I'm curious because you've had success in the pool. This will be your second Paralympics. Unfortunately, you know, things did not work out going into Tokyo. How do you take that experience and that disappointment there, and then kind of channel it into kind of focus for this cycle, and then continue to build that momentum as we make our way to Paris?
I think the big thing was I was a baby in Rio. I was still very motivated and very focused, but I really was a rookie and a baby. And so I kind of had this naive energy, which I kind of love. Like, I think everyone should have that going into their first games or whatnot. Like, it's just, you get to not have any of the pressures. You get to just be there and swim. And I think that was really important to me. And you don't really realize that until like later on when you've done it a few times. But after having to withdraw my name from Tokyo, that was very heartbreaking for me. I think the biggest thing is I broke my back when I was in like the best shape of my life, ready to compete at Tokyo. And so the hungriness did not change just because my physical injury did. I think that was the main thing, was the mental hungriness was still 100% there. So as soon as doctors and coaches and everybody let me, I was back in the pool. I had the same goals, and I was definitely way more hungry. Not more hungry, but more hungry because it was such a long distance from the last time I got to compete.
Well, and it's been showing in your races and your finishes. How do you continue that momentum into Paris?
I think the biggest thing is I love what I do, and I'm happy on the day-to-day like training right now. And I think that's the biggest thing for me, is kind of being happy and doing what I love and getting to improve on it. I think that's really huge for me. I'm really happy with my coaching situation at home with my teammates, and I get to try to be the best in the world with some of the best people in the world.
Is there a particular win, medal, record, title that really stands out to you as maybe something a bit more special than some of the others?
I think it was actually my 100 breaststroke in Rio, which is forever ago. But I think that was my most impactful race, just because I got fourth or something, and it was by like a nose of a hair. But I think when people ask me about my best race, they're assuming it's going to be the one I medaled in, which was IM, but it's 100 breaststroke, because it was definitely the race where I realized how much I loved what I was doing and how much I loved the sport and how hungry I was to continue doing it, and like how it was just the beginning.
What is it about swimming that you love?
The people, and getting to hang out with these people every day, and getting to be surrounded by a full team. We have a great support staff where I train right now, and we have so much fun doing it. It doesn't feel like work. You're exhausted every day. Your body's working, but your mind isn't.
You mentioned the fact that, you know, you got yourself basically a baby in Rio. What have you learned, or have you changed your preparation, or kind of how you mentally set yourself up for races from when you first started competing to now?
For sure. I think I honestly am a totally different athlete than when I started in Rio. Again, I was a bit of a baby in Rio, and I had this young, naive, and I love that. I love that I went into Rio with no pressures, I had goals for myself, but it was really the first time experience, and I really just wanted to see what I could do. And I think over the years, I've definitely developed that, and I've definitely been on the stage a lot more. And I have always been competitive, but I've definitely realized how stubborn I am in my competitiveness. And so just being able to learn how to be the best athlete in the world and not just in the pool directly every day, but be the best athlete all around is kind of the biggest thing I've learned.
What are your hopes for Paris?
I want to defend my titles from last year at World Championships, and I'm going for the world record in 100-meter breaststroke.
I mean, that's a pretty direct focus right there. I love it. For you, what does it mean when you get to don that maple leaf and you get to go out there and you can represent Canada on the international stage? What does that mean to you?
I think you're really representing people, and I think on firsthand, like I'm representing my family, my friends, the support staff, my training partners, everybody who's helped me get there. Like that's who I really am representing, and I love that fact. I often get caught because I say we a lot when I'm talking about my performance. I'm like, we're training for this, we're ready for this, and I get caught saying we a lot, and some people like it, some people don't, but I stick with it because it's honestly comes off my tongue. Like it's not, I'm not purposely doing it, but it really is. It's not just me. It's really representing everyone who's helped you get there.
Well, and that's so key, right? It's that understanding that, it is a team.
Yeah.
Even if it's an individual sport, it's a team sport at the same time.
You're competing for you're competing for yourself. I get to pursue my goals, but honestly, it's the process of getting there and having the support team and the training partners that I have. Like they are my we.
One thing that made news this year was the fact that Paralympic medalists in Canada were now going to be compensated equally to Canadian Olympians who medal. What does that mean to you?
I think I'll say I don't think that changes any athlete's motivation because I think you don't get to this level of sport for doing it for the money or doing it for anything like that. But I think it changes the game in terms of the recognition we're getting. And I think that's huge because on the day-to-day, we are training the same amount. We are working just as hard. We're equal partners to our Olympics counterparts on that end where the day-to-day is exactly the same. And so I think that's the biggest part is the recognition of that.
Lastly, I'm curious, were you ever surprised in terms of how quickly, you saw success in the water when you started competing and getting into, oh, now you're on the national team. Now you're competing in Rio. Oh, now you're finding success. Did that at all ever surprise you?
Surprise is a big word. I think at first it did. I think as a younger athlete, it was a bit more surprising to me. I was like, okay, we're here. Oh, we're doing well. I've worked for this, but still shocked that I'm here and I'm competing and I get to compete against the best athletes in the world. So I think at the beginning, as a younger athlete, it definitely was more of a surprise. But now I think I am wanting to be there and I want to prove myself. I want to prove that I deserve to be there and what I'm capable of and show my true potential. So not sure if it's a surprise anymore.
I don't think so either. Tess, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now with Dave Brown, weekdays at 9 a.m. Eastern on AMI-télé. Watch highlights, now streaming on AMI+.